And welcome, everybody, to another episode of Positive Talk. Boy, I got to tell you, I know we say this a lot, but we've really got a wonderful guest on for us today. She's an author of 6 books. We are going to target one of the books that has to do with kids and how to help them live the way that they choose to live, because as we discussed, they're the next generation, and they're going to be here a lot longer than us older folks. So we're with that. Dr. Mellisa Lambert is our guest, and go to her website, which is, I don't see it right here, but I'll look it up, and we're going to go right to the episode right now. There's a moment in every life when you decide to rise.
To stand taller than your fear.
To speak louder than your doubt.
To chase the vision that sets your soul on fire.
This is that moment. And here we walk it together with stories that awaken, voices that inspire,
and truths that set you free.
This is Positive Talk Radio with Kevin
and with Rochelle,
where hope has a voice.
And that voice is yours.
And welcome to the show, everybody. I want everybody to think and perhaps say a nice little prayer for Rochelle. She's flying and she hates to fly, so she's probably a little scared right now. So she's not going to be with us today, but Dr. Mellisa Lambert is with us. She's an author. She's got, I believe it's 6 books, Doctor, is that right?
14.
Oh my gosh! Well, apparently I didn't scroll down far enough.
So on the website, I only have the 6 because I'm just putting that together for that. It's a series of families and single women. So on the website is only the 6 of them. I didn't put all 14 yet, but it's all on Amazon.
Oh, I'm looking forward to talking to you now. Have you been writing since you were a wee little lass?
Absolutely not. And you know what's so crazy? I failed English when I was in high school. And my English teacher said something, which, again, I always say, choose your word wisely, because you can either plant a seed of life or you can plant a seed of death. But thank God that seed that she planted was not death for me. I rose above it. She was like, you're not a good writer. And if she can see me now.
Wow, we need to call her up and invite her, because you are a writer of note. You write really thoughtful, meaningful books. And let me just kind of go through them, the ones that are on the website. Yes. 21 Days of Prayer for My Future Husband, because he's going to need it. No, that's not there. 21 Days of Prayer for My Future Husband, and 365 Days of Prayer and Affirmations for the Man I Love. And 365 Days of Prayer and Affirmations for the Woman I love. I could do that. And we're going to focus a little bit on This Is Me, a student's guide to confidence, identity, friendships, and most importantly, future dreams. And then coming out of my financial Egypt and now living in abundance. You have been busy, and then focus, follow one course until successful. So let's focus on you. Oh my gosh, and there's more. 31-day journal to revitalize your body. Your greatest wealth is your health. And that is, she is an entrepreneur and an author, a faith-driven leader dedicated to service, empowerment, and legacy. I love that. As a licensed financial consultant, she helps individuals and family grow spiritually and build generational wealth through education and the infinite banking concept. Her creed, love God, serve people, and leave a legacy. She is remarkable, and I'm so glad to get to talk to you today. Do you ever look at, like your bookcase and look at all the books you've written and go, wow, did I do all that?
And it's so crazy you said that, because I was moving the other day and I had to unpack one of the shelves, because I have literally 2 bookshelves full of books, and one section is all mine. And I looked at it, I was like, oh my gosh, you did that? I surprise myself at times, because sometimes I always tell people, read writing books, creating business concept is I can do something like that in my sleep. That's my stress. That's something that helps me to de-stress. I de-stress by planning. I de-stress by writing. I de-stress by creating a business from scratch. So that's something I enjoy doing. So when I see my work on the shelf, it amazes me. And when I hear the stories of those who are reading it and they're being impacted by the stories and the concept and the lessons, it just gives me joy because I feel like my purpose was served when they actually feel and is reading it and is also doing it as well.
And have you thought about the fact that, you're very young still, but have you thought about the fact that you're creating a legacy? And let me explain what I mean. There's going to be somebody in 10 years, in 15 years, they're going to go to a used bookstore and they're going to pick out a book that you wrote and it's going to be on a topic that they're interested in, and you're going to change a life. You'll never know who or when that person is going to pick up that book, but it's going to happen. And that's the legacy that you are leaving. So congratulations on everything that you're doing. That's pretty darn cool.
I truly believe, thank you for that, because I believe that we all have a defined moment in life, right? We also can work our purpose away, or we can live out our God-given purpose. And I choose to do the last, live out my God-given purpose. And that is true serving people, writing where it impacts them today, but also impact them later on in life. And to be able to know that when I leave this earth, I left a footprint. I left something that my daughter will remember me by, but my family and those who I haven't met will be able to have something tangible for them to read and say, oh my gosh, this girl, really, I don't know her, but her books is impactful. Her books has changed my life. Her books has helped my marriage, has saved my marriage. Her book has helped me find my husband, or her books has helped my middle schoolers or high schoolers become better at friendship, become better in their confidence and building out their independence. So I am thankful, to be honest with you, and humbled that I'm able to do what I do. And it's not for me. I truly believe God gets all the glory out of it all.
I got to ask you, was there a moment in time when you discovered this was your purpose in life? And see, I had one of those moments when I was 42, much older than you are today. And the moment was, why am I here? And what am I here to do? And doing the job that I was doing wasn't it. It turns out that this was it. This is what. And so, did you have a moment like that, or is it been that way since you were a little girl?
Well, I've always been a talker. Even in high school, I became most talkative out of 800 and something kids. So the gift of gab has always been my power, right? But when it comes to my writing, so crazy. It took books later. The book that really impacted me was when I wrote 21 Days of Prayer for My Future Husband. Because as a single woman, I remember when I divorced my ex-husband, I told God, I don't want nothing to do with guys. I'm done. If this is what love is, it hurts. I don't want it. And I remember like 2 years ago, I was sitting down and the Spirit of God said, it's time to free you from you. I was like, wait, how am I going to free me from me? Because I put a curse on my own self, saying that I don't want nothing to do with them. So he said, it's time to pray for this man to come into your life. So I sat and wrote 21 Days of Prayer for my future husband, for me, to free me. And at that moment, when that book was released, I didn't even understand it until like in the month of February 14th, I started a class with these ladies who are single that was wanting to get their husband. And we went through the entire, I think it was 8 weeks. And the last 2 classes, I just was in tears because at that moment I said, oh my goodness, you are why I wrote this book. And this is why I wrote this book. And that was a shift for me. that was when I realized writing is one of my gifts, but it's also the blessing that I leave for so many families, individuals, and even now for our youth.
Absolutely. That's an amazing story, and thank you so much for telling it. And because you have a gift, and you're able to articulate what people would like to understand about creating a great relationship, or how to raise your kids for them to be the best that they can be. Where did your wisdom come from? And I know you're a doctor, so did your wisdom come from your schooling, or the school of experience and hard knocks?
Well, my doctorate is in organization leadership because I love to be, organized and everything. But my wisdom comes from God. I don't own any credit because I can't take any. My wisdom comes from being on my knees praying. My wisdom comes from me reading his word. My wisdom comes by listening to his voice. And when I do that, I create. And also sometimes you don't realize how people are placed. I always say we have earthly angels, like you were one for me. Out of nowhere you came into my inbox, not knowing that I've been praying for you and you found me. Right? So I truly believe wisdom comes from, for me, my higher power, which is God. And he gives me the wisdom. And whenever he gives me, I'm able to release into the world so I can leave that generational impact on a daily basis. I don't leave legacy just for tomorrow. I leave legacy for today, for tomorrow too. But for today, I need to see, how did I impact you today? How did I transform your life today? How did I make a difference in your life today? So that's where my wisdom comes from, God.
Well, and I will tell you this, that rather than to say, yep, I created this whole thing, I'm willing to say, and tell me if you agree with this, you take great dictation.
What do you mean?
What I mean is that the book and the words, that they came from you, but they actually came from somewhere else.
Absolutely.
So you were just dictating what you were being told to write, and rather than creating it all yourself.
And that's when you get out your way. And that's the problem with many people. We're stuck in our own way. And when you realize that the greater power, which is God, that he creates everything, he has an answer for it all. And when I always say this statement, I decrease so that he can increase in me. Less of me and more of him. When I can do that, I literally, I'm going to say this word, denounce self. Because sometimes we get in our way and stop the blessing. We get in our way and curse ourselves. Like I said, when I said, I don't want nothing to do with a man, right? That was me doing a word curse on my own self, not realizing what I was doing or saying. So yes, like you said, I'm a dictator. I hear it and I write it.
Well, and that's really all it is, because that is the mission that you're on, and that's the mission that you have been given, and you're succeeding at it beautifully.
Oh, thank you. I truly appreciate that. Thank you so much. And do I have more to learn? Absolutely.
Well, we all do, because that's why in my opinion, that's one of the reasons why we're here, is to continue to experience and to continue to learn. Let me give you an example. I'm willing to bet, and I do not know sitting here if you're in a relationship or not, but you saying what you did, I'm done with those guys, and then writing the book. And there's going to come a point in time when the right guy and the right man who's going to fulfill all of your thoughts and wants and needs and be that person that you always dreamed of, they're going to be there.
Come on now. From your mouth to God's ears and to that man's heart.
And sometimes, we don't get to meet everybody that's on the planet. So
No.
sometimes it takes a little while for that guy to show up, but I guarantee you that person is going to show up for you because you've got a great smile, you've got great energy, you're a very special human being, and you're even sick today. So
I know.
I appreciate you coming and taking the time with us because you go, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this now or watching it later, go to YouTube. She's a very pretty lady and she's got a great smile and great energy. And so I really enjoy talking to you every time that I get to.
Absolutely. And again, thank you for being open. A lot of people don't recognize greatness when they hear it or see it. And when I heard your voice, I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy is great. I want to learn from him. Being on the radio for this long, you've paved the way. And I'm the type of person that I like to see people like yourself succeed and win because I know that you're going to have your hand to lift a person like me up. So I am honored to be able to be in your presence, to learn, to grow, to see what else is there for me, Mellisa Lambert, to be able to impact humanity at large.
You are the final chapter hasn't been written, but you're already on the road to helping humanity heal, which is, I think at this point in time, which is what we all should be about, is to creating and stuff. So let's talk about the book that we wanted to talk about today, which is This Is Me, A Student's Guide to Confidence, Identity, Friendships, and Future Dreams. What motivated you to write this book? And by the way, it's more than a workbook. It's a life guide for school, home, and youth programs, helping students proudly say, this is me, and I'm becoming my best self. I love that.
Yes. This book, I have a story for all my books, how they come to me. My daughter was my middle schooler. She's going to be 14 in 15 days. My goodness. So my daughter, Chelsea, was sick. She was home. And she began to share with me what's going on, the gossip that's going on in her class and what's happening with the girls, what's happening with the boys, and how she feels about everything. And at that moment, This Is Me was downloaded. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to really create a book for this generation. Not just a book that will allow them to read, but a doing book. If you get any of my book, all my books are doing, because I truly believe that you can read something. Can you comprehend what you're reading? Can you now take what you comprehend and put it into action? So all my books are like that. They're action book where you have to do so you can be able to be greater than where you started. So this entire book came from just having a dialogue with my daughter. She's 13, my daughter, in my room. And then I began to write. And God began to download. And he said to me, talk to Mr. McKay, which is my co-author, because he's also a teacher for middle schoolers and high schoolers, and let him co-author the book with me. And I went back and forth with him, and he gave me some stuff and I put it in. And we just created such a tool where once they get this book and these young people began the journey, and they take their time, transformation will happen. Healing would happen, because my bachelor's is in psychology and counseling. And I created that book where they don't realize they are getting counseled. They don't realize they're getting opened up to themselves. They don't realize that they have to have a dialogue. They can't be on their phone. They have to write things out, right? So that's how This Is Me came about, just by having a conversation with my daughter Chelsea.
Which is really cool, and I'm glad the book was downloaded to you and written, because we Children are so different now, and their experience of life is so different now than it was even as little as 20 years ago.
True.
And it's so easy for kids to feel like they're less than because everybody tells them they're less than. And being able to rise above that and create, and you said it before we even began, you want to help kids live their best life so that they can contribute to society when they get older and not do what a lot of the kids are doing, which is less than. Does that make sense?
That does. It does. We have to plant good seed so those seeds can be watered and grow into great humankind. We need to have a great president. We need to have a great secretary. We need to have some great doctors. We need to have some great teachers. They are the future. And as we begin to plant their seeds now and help them water, help them grow, guess what? We are doing what we are meant to do, prepare the next generation to become greater than we are. I always say to my daughter, I want you to be greater than me. I want you to be better than me. However that looks like for you. I want to teach you financial education now so you can later on don't depend on me financially. I want you to know how money works. I want you to know how to compound your interest. I want you to know how to sit it, forget it, but also see it compound for you. I want you to learn how to be your own bank. So what I'm learning today is what I want to say. I wasn't taught. I love my mom. My mom is the most amazing woman in the world. But she didn't teach me everything because she was only able to teach me what her capacity, what she was able to gather from her upbringing. Sometimes we have to get the hard knock life of, understanding life by reading. That's why I tell people knowledge is power. I read and read and read every single month. I have 2 to 3 books I'm reading and also listening to. So I can be able to be prepared not only for my daughter, but for yours, for your grandchildren, for your great grandchildren, for your children. I want to be able to be prepared for this generation.
Oh, absolutely. And you said a couple of things in there that I have to follow up with because we do something, and I'm not sure I showed this to you. We do something called Points to Ponder. And they are just little shorts of wisdom that I'm going to have to take some of your wisdom and make another point to ponder out of that, by the way. But I'm going to play 2 of them for you, and I want you to listen to them. One is called The Seed, and the other one is called The Mirror. Can I do that real quick?
Absolutely.
Here's another point to ponder by Positive Talk Radio. A tiny seed was buried in the dirt, covered in darkness, forgotten by the world. But within that darkness, it grew roots, then sprouted into something beautiful. The seasons of struggle you face are not endings. They're beginnings. Trust that growth is happening, even when you cannot see it. You're listening to Positive Talk Radio, where stories of hope live. Here's another point to ponder by Positive Talk Radio. A woman spent years hating the reflection in her mirror. One day, she whispered, "I am enough." Day by day, her reflection became her friend. Self-love begins with the words you tell yourself. Speak gently, because you are listening. This is brought to you by Positive Talk Radio, where stories of hope come alive. And welcome back to Positive Talk. We've got a great guest here. Dr. Mellisa Lambert is with us. She's written 14 books. I think that's the right number. 14. And we're talking about one in particular. But first of all, I have to ask you, you are the seed, and also one of the things that a lot of people in general have a problem with is going and looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, "I love you."
Yes. That self-talk is important. And I love what you said with this point to ponder. Trust that growth is happening even when you don't see it. That's what's called faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. I may not see it, but it's happening. Like prime example, give you an example. This Is Me book. When I wrote that book, I wasn't a licensed teacher in the state of Florida. But if you look in that book in November, I wrote it, right? And I published it in November. I wrote it in end of October, published it in November. And I put in the book that I am a teacher. In February 2026, I became a licensed teacher for the state of Florida. So even
Congratulations. That is huge.
So even though I did not see it, I spoke it. Just like what you said, that person looked in the mirror and self-talked and tell herself, I am beautiful, I am loved, and I'm important. And she became brighter because of what she was saying to herself. So whatever you desire in your life, learn that the word that you speak can plant a seed that will grow or a seed that will die.
And you get to choose.
You get to choose. Absolutely. The choice is yours.
So as I think it was in Raiders of the Lost Ark or one of them, which said, choose wisely.
Yes. Choose wisely. Please.
because you get to, but doctor, so many of us have been brought up to believe that we don't really have a choice, that we are the way we are. And I can't tell you in the course of my life how many people said, well, that's just the way I am. Well, you know what? You get to choose who you're going to be and how you're going to present yourself to the world. And you can present yourself in a positive way or a negative way. It's your choice. I choose to be positive.
That's right. That's why it's Positive Talk Radio, right?
That's right, dang it. And that's why we have Dr. Mellisa Lambert with us. Go to our website, which is, I believe it's just...
MelisaBooks.com.
That's right.
Mellisa books.com.
And you can get the books. Now, I have said this and before, and I'll say it right here. What I want somebody to do is, rather than necessarily go to Amazon and buy it because they don't pay well, is what I want you to do is, if you have a local bookseller, mom and pop, that are working 60 hours a week trying to make ends meet, and they have the shop because they love the written word and they love to introduce new works to people. Go in and say, by the way, do you have anything by Dr. Mellisa Lambert? And if they'll look in their computer and they'll say, well, not currently. And they say, well, she's got 16 books. I want you to buy 3 of each and then put them on your shelf, and I'll buy 1 of each. And then, but then somebody else will have them available to them. And you've accomplished 2 things. We help get the book out there, and we're also helping a mom and pop and not feeding the big bad bookstores.
Thank you for that. That is so smart. And again, we have to learn how to build community together. When I rise, you rise. When we walk together, right? So I love that you throw that out there, because I never even thought about that. Going into the little moms and pops, because again, I love the tangible books. I love to feel them. I like to highlight in them. I like to mark. I'm old school with it, I like to write up in them, Yes. Do I do Audible? Yes, I do. But I just love a book in my hands. And I think that, the bookstores, they're needed in our community, and we need to support them as well.
I couldn't agree more. That is how we will. And, there is something about having a book that you can refer to rather than it being inaudible. And I get it. Everybody is, working out and they're listening to the books and while they're working out and all that kind of stuff. But buy the book and read it, and then have it by your bedside so that if you can't sleep, you pick it up and you can read it. And it can be very impactful for you. But let's talk about the kids. What's it like having a soon-to-be 14-year-old girl in today's society?
Ooh, oh my gosh. You know what? When I started teaching in the middle schools this year, I was thankful. When I came home, I just hugged my baby because I realized how sheltered I had her, how she's still a child. She thinks like one. I'm not saying she acts like a child, but she's not in sense this grown person in a young person body. Because what I saw in these schools were these 13, 12-year-olds wearing makeup and showing their bodies, and my baby is just so innocent. So it scares me in this world because that's called you find where if you're not strong enough, you can be led astray with the wrong crowd. So it scares me in that way. Will she find good friends? Would she understand the right from wrong? With all the sex trafficking and all this craziness and the shooting, I got to continue to pray Psalms 91 over her for protection, asking, goodness and mercies to follow her all the days of her life. So as a mom raising a soon to be 14-year-old daughter in this world, it's scary, but I am in great hope that she is covered by God. And I'm in great hope that what I taught her, that's been planted in her since a child, she will take that into the streets, take it into her class, and make a difference in her generation.
She has the ability to be the shining example of what's possible.
Yes.
And it's because you you helped her recognize that. And as she grows up, she's going to go, man, that mom of mine is pretty smart. You know what I mean?
Well, I hope so. She says that.
Well, and even if there's a period of time when she doesn't, but over time, the bond that you've created will be, because, doctor, I have to tell you, how few people will sit in a bedroom and talk to their kid for a long time, because everybody is so busy and they're doing their life, and they don't really know how important it is for those moments, because those moments are huge.
Yes, it is. It's so, I feel like family time is taken away from just using, like, my rule is no phones at the table. Once we sit down, we're eating.
Hold on.
We're conversating.
I'm sorry, but when you say something like that, because I see it all the time when you're I was at a Whole Foods, and they have a place that gives you ice cream and stuff, and it was a warm day, and mom and two kids, they were 12 to 14 or right around in there, and they'd all gotten ice cream, and they were sitting at the table. A perfect opportunity for mom to find out, well, what's going on in your life? How's your day? No, she was looking at her phone. They were looking at their phones. They never exchanged a word.
Disconnected.
Yep.
Like, I remember back in the days where you play outside until the lights come off, right?
Yeah.
I remember back in the days, you find a rock on the ground and you throw it at your friends, right? Or you playing jumping rope outside, throwing a ball. Those days are over. It's all technology based now for these kids.
I used to remember we had a pack of bicycles, and there would be 5 or 6 or 7 of us, and we'd be riding around the neighborhood on our bicycles. I don't see that anymore.
No.
We used to go down there. There was a ball field near us, and we would do a pickup baseball game. I don't see that anymore. All I see are kids on their phones, and it's become almost an antisocial thing.
Yeah. And it was I was teaching in the high school on Thursday and Friday of last week. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, Thursday, Friday, and also Monday. And going into the building, right? Or I have to pass the kids and to go into the building. You see kids sitting outside because they have to wait until the bell ring. They were lined up like maybe 5 on one side and like 3 on the other side. All 8 children, student. This was them in the phone. Not one person connected to they were sitting right next to each other, and not one person looked up. Even when I was trying to pass them, they didn't even budge. I had to say, excuse me, because they were so disconnected to what's going on in their environment. And I was like, oh my gosh, is this what the world has come to, where we're not even talking to each other? And you're texting to each other, right? What do you want to do today? Instead of saying, what do you want to do today? You know, like, why do you got to text me that? I'm standing right here. Like, you know?
It is crazy. It really is. And what they don't understand, and I tried to explain this to who's now 34-year-old son when he was younger. And I said, why don't you call people? And he said, oh, I just text them. Said, but you can't get the flavor of their voice, the inflection, what they mean. And because texting is such a dry thing. And he said, but then he said, well, Dad, I'm talking to 3 girls at the same time when I text. So for him,
confused when he does call one, right?
No, he never did. It was, and so I don't understand. But I didn't want to appear like that old fuddy duddy to get off my lawn and call people, would you? I didn't want to be that guy. But it's just changed, and so kids are not as invested in each other as they used to be, and it's sad to see.
Yeah, it is, and that's why. I mean, working into the school system, having a 14-year-old gave me the idea of creating this academy that is coming out, Vision Builders Academy. And I decided to build an academy that's built around middle schoolers and high schoolers, bringing the This Is Me curriculum inside the program by teaching personal development, communication, right? Learning about their identity, who they are, because if you don't know who you are, how do you know where you're going? Like,
you don't.
So you have to sit and understand who I am. Who am I? Why was I created? Like you said, like, what am I here for? Right? Understand it. Even though I'm in middle school, like, understand why, what, the who, what, when, and why, you know? And entrepreneurship, teaching entrepreneurship. Let's create a business. Let's write a book. Let's be a content creator. Like, that's what they like to do nowadays, right? How do we do that? You know, let's now create a resume so you can go work at Publix. So you can work in one of those fast food restaurants and learn the system. So when you understand their system, you can now duplicate something for yourself. Like, you know, so within my academy, you know, with the This Is Me book, bringing that into the program and building out, even understanding how finance work, teaching financial education. Like, these kids are I don't think they understand the power of the money. They know how to move it. They don't know how much it takes for us to earn it as parents. They just think it's like, oh, can I have it? Oh, I want that. Oh, so who's paying for that? Oh, you, Mom. Like, wait, so I'm paying for something, but you can't do what I asked you to do, right? So that's the entitlement of this generation. So I really believe creating this academy, having This Is Me book, will kind of take a piece of the pie that's been sitting out there about to rot, saying, I need help. I'm going to find those group of kids, God's willing, and I'm going to mold them and shape them into the vision builders that they will be. They will be visionaries, and they will build out a legacy that their parents are going to be so proud to know that they have accomplished their mission on this earth.
Oh, exactly. When is this? When are you going to complete this? When is this happening?
So the website will launch on April the 5th. God's willing. It's still in the works.
Hold on.
I do have the YouTube channel already up. So one of the videos already there. So Vision Builders Academy. Anywhere, if you go to for the website will be myvisionbuildersacademy.com, and Vision Builders Academy on all social media platforms. But I'm asking parents, those who are listening, those who are watching it live, those who are going to listen to the replay, if you have a middle schooler and a high schooler, get them enrolled into this program. Get them This Is Me book. We have to help them. We got to guide them. We have to direct them so they won't be lost in the sauce. I'm sorry to say it that way, but they are these kids. What school we think school is, it's, to be honest, it's a babysit. It's a place they babysit these kids, because if you go into the school, you realize they're teaching themselves on a computer, and half of them are playing either a game on that computer, watching YouTube on that computer, chatting with somebody on that computer. They're not even doing their work. One student said to me, I haven't learned anything since 5th grade, and she's in 12th grade.
Oh, no.
Can you imagine your child saying to you, Mom, I have not learned anything since 5th grade, and I'm about to graduate, and I don't want to go to college because education don't make sense to me. When she said that, it broke my heart to know that this is what was sown into her, for her to feel that education doesn't matter. So I want to change that.
Please do. You can. I know that you can, because it's in you. I can see it. And this came from another download, didn't it?
Oh my gosh. I want to give you the story how Vision Builders came about. It was on a Friday, the Friday before spring break of the last 2 weeks ago. I got off of work early. I was working at the hospital, and they told me to go home. And I got home, and in my driveway, I pulled up. I normally park in my garage. I pulled up in my driveway because I wanted to get my puppy. And my neighbor was next door, and she came out. I was like, oh my gosh, I have not seen you. I've met your husband, but I've never met you. And she introduced herself to me, and we began to talk. Come to find out, she's also a licensed teacher, but she teaches higher education, which is in college. And we began to talk, and I told her that I have my honorary doctorate, but I also have my doctorate in organizational leadership. I told her about all the stuff I do. And she was like, oh my gosh, you should work in the college. But then she said, I'm going to give you an idea that I shared with the lady that used to live in this house. So I said, okay. Then she said, why don't you become a vendor for Step Up for Students? Step Up for Students is a program that Florida has where they give up to $9,300 to students for scholarships every single year. She said, why don't you become a vendor and teach or tutor or do something enrichment within the program? And I said to her, oh my gosh, that's a great idea. Do you know at 12 o'clock, I got that download from her saying that. I then went home and I said, God, this sounds good. I said, I've been teaching these kids. I wrote this book, but I needed to figure out how to put it together. This academy has to be it. On Friday, not only did I do the vision, the mission, the purpose, a business plan, design the logo, create the slogan, all on Friday. Then I created the mock-up of the website. And by Saturday, I had my team working on creating the video. Then I had my other team get ready to start the website. It took me literally 4 days to establish this business. And I told you I can do stuff like this in my sleep. It's
Apparently
exciting.
you can. That's pretty remarkable. I know people that have been stewing about something for weeks and months and months and months, and they'll get around to it eventually, and then it never does. You had that. Oh, I can do this in 36 hours. I'm going to have it done.
Yeah, I do. I think that time is getting. We all have 24 hours, right?
Yep.
What would you do with it? Will you sit and watch Netflix for 6 of those hours? Would you sit and scroll on TikTok for 5 of those hours? I get the same amount of hours that you get, but I choose to turn off the television because they're telling their own vision. I turn it off.
Oh, say that again. Hold on. Say that again.
I said I turn off the television because they're telling their vision.
I love that. I love that. They're telling their vision.
Yeah,
that's a bumper sticker, by the way.
They are, because again, you got to kind of weed out the truth in the media, because the media is not, they're meant to put fear into us. That's their mission.
If they put fear into you, then you'll keep watching because you got to find out what.
What's
and
next?
It's all about clicks, and it's all about and they teach you to be fearful of everything because it's so sad. It is so sad.
Here, right? When we have our storm, when it's about to be a hurricane or something, literally they would tell you, they would put fear in you. Oh, he's going to have a category 5 or category this. And when you go to the store, no water, no tissue, nothing, everything's empty. Then come the day of the storm. Where is the storm? Why is it so sunny outside? Because there wasn't going to be a storm. They needed to boost the economy. We have to understand what the media is there for. It is not say all media is bad, but we have to learn how to channel the truth by asking God for the wisdom to know what is right and what is wrong. That's why I tell my daughter every day, protect your gates, your eye gate, what you see, your ear gate, what you listen to, your mouth gate, what you speak, because whatever you see, you cannot return it back. Whatever you hear, you can't erase it out. Whatever you speak, you can't take it back. So when they're telling their vision, make sure your vision is bigger and brighter and better. That's what I say.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and in my age group, which is a little older than your age group, I live in a 55 plus community. There are people that I've never met because they stay in their house and watch TV all day. I do this all day. I do 10 shows a week. I do a bunch of other stuff. I've got a team of people like you do, and the whole premise is to create something better today than it was yesterday. And you're doing such good work. So this thing this new idea of yours to create the academy isn't even 2 weeks old.
It's not even 2 weeks old. It's only a week old, but it's already moved, already to, about to finalize in the website. And then after that, I'm going to now go after, different organizations to be able to, I want in-house sponsorship. I want to be able to know that I have sponsors that are sponsoring a young person that cannot afford to do a tuition. It's a enrichment program after school hours. But I have licensed teachers that are teaching my students. Everyone has to have a license to teach, because I want to be able to give them the best in front of them and making sure that they are receiving, but also doing in the process.
You got licensed teachers to commit in less than a week. You're pretty darn. I got to tell you, and I know you've written a book about getting out of Egypt, which is your way of saying that getting out of slavery and becoming more and to become self-sufficient. You have you thought about teaching that too?
So that's a part of the curriculum, financial education. So one thing that we focus on with infinite banking. I'm licensed as a practitioner of the Nelson Nash Institute. And if you know Nelson Nash, he's the late R. Nelson Nash. He created this book called this system called Becoming Your Own Banker. So it's the Becoming Your Banker concept. So this concept is what's been used for decades, over hundreds of years ago. It's utilizing structured whole life, not index, not IULs, structured whole life policy to be able to move that as your own bank. People say, how do I become my own bank? The same way you support a bank that has somebody else's name on it, you can turn the switch and be that, because the banks are nothing without you. You are their business. So within the academy, I teach our children and their parents what that looks like. How to we don't know how to put down how much you're spending. What percentage do you need to save? What percentage you need to invest? How you're going to now use that investment to compound interest. So, and we have a game that we also release in there for them to learn the game. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, he created a game, the cash flow game. And we teach that to our students. So that part is a part of us. And I'm with the financial side, I'm on a campaign. My goal, it sounds crazy, but guess what? I believe in God that it will happen. My goal is to protect 100,000 children. Teach their family to protect them, because guess what? Imagine your 34-year-old son, when he was born, 15 days later, you put a life insurance policy of 100,000 on him at 15 days. Do you know what that $100,000 would have looked like at 34? That would have been almost over $500,000. And the cash accumulation of that may reach about 150. Why? You decided to protect him when he was young. So when he's old, that same policy that was with him at 15 days old carried him into his adulthood, where he's now able to use it as a bank. Buy his first car, get married, use the cash value in there, go to school with that money, take a vacation with that money. So within this academy, my goal is to make sure the students learn, but also as parents, we need to know better so we can do better.
Well, and I was talking with a gentleman yesterday, and he has put together a program for older folks as far as getting them to be able to communicate and stuff through technology and that kind of thing. But one of the things he said was, we have what did he say? 3,500 seniors turning 65 every day, and most of them are not prepared because they didn't prepare in their youth. And so we are going to come across a crisis in this country of people not being able. They're going to retire, or they're going to have to retire, and Social Security ain't going to cover it. And we're going to have people that are going to be homeless that are going to be in their 70s, which is just crazy. And so and teaching kids about money and how it all works. I had another guest that said, "Do you ever wonder why banks are so big and they've got these big buildings?" It's because he said he went out to get a loan one time, and he was praying that he was going to get the loan, and he goes, "That's what they're selling me, is that loan, so they can make the interest for that. They're going to charge me from that loan, so and they're going to give me the money anyway."
It's a business.
It's just a business transaction, and people don't understand that. My other son, he has a mobile home, or a fifth wheel, and they paid $55,000 for it, and they put it on time, and they didn't look at the fine print because now they're front loading the interest. So he, in 2.5 years, they've paid off $3,000 worth of principal, and they're paying almost $400 a month in interest because they front loaded it. So we need to know these things, don't we?
We do. And just imagine that's your son, but just imagine all of America is in that situation.
I know. It's scary.
I always look at money when interest as throwing it down the toilet. When you use the bathroom, you gotta, hopefully we flush the toilet, right? You gotta flush it. That's what we do with our money daily. When we don't understand how money works, we flush it down the drain. That's why I'm so thankful to partner with Core Financial Partners, because they're my firm that I work alongside with, and they're educating so many people, but also teaching me how this concept works. Because I tell people this: remember what the Bible says, that people perish because of the lack of knowledge. When they say perish, they mean like they die. But you personally have to understand, when you don't understand this information, just like your son wasn't able to read the fine print. Later on, the fine print rose up and showed him it's now big print, because now you owe me some money.
Well, and he didn't even have the wherewithal to even understand the question to ask. Because and that's why education is so important, but they don't teach it in junior high school or high school the way they should.
And that is why Vision Builders Academy will exist, because I'm going to teach what the school system cannot. Remember, they're built on a standard. They have to go by the state standard. Even when, this is so sad to say this. I remember being in a class, and one of my students said to me, "Miss," they always say Miss. I don't know, you tell them your name is Dr. Lambert, they still call you Miss. "Miss, I can't read." And I'm like, I thought he was joking. So when the other teacher came in, I said, "This student said something to me that they couldn't read." And she said to me, "If he says it, he's absolutely telling you the truth." So when she said that, and the next like maybe 5 minutes later, I went to him and seeing that he wasn't doing anything, and I began to word by word point it out to him. And it breaks my heart to see that an 8th grader will go into 9th grade not being able to read.
And I drove a bus for 12 years, and one of the things that does to kids is they lose hope because they can't do what the other kids can do, and at that point it doesn't matter why. They just lose hope, and a kid with no hope does bad things. They get into gangs, they start using drugs, and some of them become bullies. It's just nothing good comes from lack of hope.
No, nothing good. And that's why we have to be there to give them hope.
Yep.
Like, seeing it and not doing nothing, to me, you're just like them. For me, I say, I see it, I understand it, but what can I do to make it better? And I'm so thankful that Vision Builders Academy came into my just by a conversation. It was birth, and I believe that this academy will impact so many people. And it's online, so wherever you are in the world, long as you're able to access Zoom or Google Meet, you're able to join into the course as well. So it's in 9 months. I take them through the same curriculum as school, so they will be in the program for 9 months.
Oh, that is just sensational. By the way, your website for that is not quite up yet. Is that right?
Not yet. It'll be up on the 5th of April. But
okay,
I want to make sure we put that in the description so that when that time comes, they can always find it.
Well, but you're going to have to come back because I want to follow this. Because we all need to work together for the betterment of our next generation, because I got to tell you, our generation is pretty screwed up, and we can't do a lot about it now, but we can create a new generation that is full of hope, full of life, and can take where we left off into a much better place.
Absolutely. I agree with, and I'm open and I'm willing to come back, because we need each other. We need to help each other, and we need to see this process through together.
And go to her website, which is melisabooks.com, correct?
Yeah, Mellisa, Mellisa books.com. Yes.
Mellisa. And have I been calling you Melissa this whole time?
Okay, everybody does. As long as they don't spell it, Melissa. They can call me Melissa, just don't spell it, Melissa. Like, no matter how much I tell people 2 L's, 1 S, they still write 1 L, 2 S's. So just don't spell it that way, because you won't get to the bookstore if you spell it that way.
You are remarkable, and you are one of the reasons why I have faith in humanity.
Thank you.
Because you're not going to sit on the sidelines and say, well, somebody ought to do something about this. You're going to go and you're going to make it happen. And congratulations for that. And I support you in it.
Oh, that warms my heart. Thank you. It's an honor to serve and to serve people on purpose. It is truly an honor. Thank you.
You are sensational. And by the way, we've run out of time, sadly, but is there anything that you would like to tell our audience before we wrap this up?
I want you to understand that you have greatness in you. That's one of the things that Les Brown will always say. You have greatness in you. It's just sometimes we just don't know that it's there, because life kicks us in the butt. But just remember, if you are still breathing, you can look up. If you can look up, you can get up. If you can get up, you can walk. If you can walk, you can soar. And if you can soar, guess what? Sky's your limit. So I pray that you guys can follow me, connect with me, support the journey. If you don't have a teenager, a youth, remember, you can sow into them. So definitely follow me at melisabooks.com, and then my visionbuildersacademy.com once it's live.
And you're going to have to come back and we'll talk about that some more, because I believe that I know that we were all born great. Amen. And then part of the challenge is we spend a lot of time having people say, you ain't so great. But we've got to disregard what they say, because God made us all great. We have the ability to do anything that we choose to do, as long as it's positive. And we can create magic in the world. And that's what you are doing. Dr. Mellisa Lambert, thank you so much for being here.
And thank you so much for having me. Positive Talk Radio is where it's at. And I truly thank you and your team, Kevin, for all that you do. And I believe that there's greatness coming out of this entire movement of Positive Talk Radio. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. And I know it's happening, and it will continue to happen, which is why we align with people like yourself, because, as I like to say, you're one of those.
Thank you. Thank you.
People that are going to make a difference. Yes. So thank you, Doctor. And go to our website again, which is melisabooks.com. And that's MESLLISA.
No, see, you messing it up already. MELLISA. This is Mel and Elisa. Mellisa.
I love that. And if you knew me, that you know that I'm challenged with names. So anyway, so thank you, my dear. Have a great day. And it's time. It's 7:00 your time.
Yes, it is.
And so it's time for dinner, and for you to take to do something nice for your 14-year-old. Give her a hug for me, and tell her she's doing great.
Thank you. I will, sure enough. Thank you so much for having me.
You betcha. We'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye for now.
Thank you for being part of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where stories inspire and voices remind us of what truly matters. May today's conversation give you hope, courage, and a reason to keep moving forward. And just remember, till next time, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got.